So some more DEI news. This video is titled "The Death of DEI Programs." As you all know, you probably know if you've been following for a little bit, my stance on the DEI overall. Not that I don't believe in it in its entirety. I just, to me, especially these big corporations that hire or created positions, DEI, chairman of DEI and chief DEI manager, to me, it always felt and it factually was just a front to make it look like they were making changes and doing things. And so I just never have believed in them. I think the biggest push for African Americans to get into, better positions, better working conditions and stuff like that was shortly after the George Floyd protest, or the George Floyd murder following the George Floyd protest. I felt like that was the best opportunity because at that point it was cool to show your support to the Black community. In my opinion, that didn't really have anything to do with DEI. In general, I believe that DEI, at least the conversation that we've had over the last few years, has stemmed from all of that 2020 stuff. But the programs itself, in my opinion, were never really designed to actually pull people into positions of power. They were just a front to make it look like things were moving in the right direction. And obviously with the new administration, which has been very publicly loud over the past couple of years of getting rid of DEI, this video is kind of explaining a little bit more about the decline of the DEI programs and what that means for people of color in America. All right, so y'all tap in. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Let me know your opinions on DEI. Am I tripping? Am I flat out wrong? Do you agree? Just let me know. Safe space. All right, y'all let me know what y'all think. It's Ricky Rich with Black Primacy. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and turn on your notifications.
And welcome back to The Factor Uncensored. This is a topic people have been talking about for months all around the country. From the universities of Utah to North Florida, we're all witnessing in real time the death of diversity, equity, and inclusion programs all across the country. You know it as DEI, a dirty word for many. So what does that mean for people of color in America that it's dying? Many schools have dumped cultural centers and programs aimed at helping minorities. Experts say it's not just schools, but the government and private businesses as well. A national expert says this will lead to more discrimination lawsuits being filed in local courts and federal courts alike. Human resource management consultant and author Dante King, who is ringing the alarm to the public. We talked to him tonight.
When we think about the ways that Black people are required to be almost perfect and to literally be perfect in many instances in order to get through certain doors, this is going to have a phenomenal impact on the Black community, because as we are disenfranchised again by this country called America, and as opportunities and access are taken away from us, it will ensure that we will not be able to compete in the ways that we have been able to compete over the last 60, 70 plus years. And so I think we have to understand that these moves, these very strategic, systematic moves, are meant to intentionally harm and disenfranchise Black people in America once again. And this has always been the case.
And the dismantling of diversity, equity, and inclusion programs, that has begun already, right?
It has. It has. Again, as I mentioned, in many colleges, universities, I know that, for example, Starbucks, there are some other corporations who are getting rid of their programs because it's not safe from a fiscal standpoint. They are literally.
And I wanted to say this, Dante, they are not under any mandate to do it. You're saying they're being safe to do it because they don't want any backlash from any governmental entities or elected officials.
For sure, but more than that, there is a company called America's First Legal, which is led by Stephen Miller, who I believe was nominated to be Donald Trump's either chief of staff or chief legal counsel in the White House. And they have been targeting these organizations by bringing lawsuits forth. And so, as we saw with the Black women-owned venture capitalist firm that was extending small grants to Black women-owned businesses, they actually got the Supreme Court to rule against that firm, and that firm had to settle that case. And so it's more than just companies trying to or wanting to play it safe. There are some potentially significant legal or economic ramifications for companies that have these policies. And what I have been partnering with different organizations to do is go back to rebrand and use language that has a basis in law, such as discrimination, harassment, disparate treatment. Because if those key terms have a standing and a basis in law. They're substantiated by the Civil Rights Act of 1964, all of the title programs, Title VI, Title VII, Title VIII, Title IX. Once you move away and you start talking about things that don't have a basis in law, it sets you up, it sets a company or an organization up to be vulnerable. And so diversity, equity, inclusion does not have a standing or basis in law.
Do you anticipate seeing more individuals having to take the legal route and file lawsuits when they didn't get a job and they feel like they deserved a job, or when a firm or an entity should have received a contract and didn't get a contract because there is no diversity, equity, or inclusion anymore? Do you see more individuals, particularly minority-owned companies and individuals who are minorities, having to file lawsuits now?
I do. I see more class action lawsuits because we will be able to, I think, within the next 2 to 5 years, see somewhat of an overhauling where companies feel that they can outright discriminate against non-white people. And how this is going to show up, I mean, we've gotten a glimpse of it already, where people, mostly who are white, espouse that people of color just are inherently not qualified. We saw that with the CEO of Wells Fargo a few years ago, where he says, that Black talent is scarce. We saw it with the treatment of Vice President Kamala Harris, her running for the presidency, and she was characterized as a DEI and or affirmative action president, and so or presidential candidate. And so we need to understand then how this is going to play out by continuing to advantage white people. Because let's be very clear, race and racial identity has always been considered in America. It's just worked in favor for white people, and so we will see more homogeneity in certain roles at certain levels in companies or organizations, at the cabinet level, at the executive level. I mean, we already see it. We already see the discrimination cases that have been mounting over the last few decades. And so I just think that my only concern or hesitation are how the courts are going to move in these cases in different jurisdictions, because we can see that many conservative leaning courts are doing just that. They're leaning and ruling in favor of protecting white supremacy.
Gun violence.
And there you have it. I mean, it's going to be an interesting battle. Like I said at the beginning of the video, I've never been a fan, never have really looked at DEI as anything other than a corporate front, but I will agree with what he said there towards the end of the video in terms of, it's about to get pretty messy because now, with the removal of that such protection, I believe it's probably going to they're probably going to now go overboard with the discrimination tactics. So I definitely wanted to share this so that those of you who are watching, and you know, myself included in everything that we do, we need to be very observant, aware, and vigilant when it comes to holding these places and organizations accountable. You know, especially if you know you work in a particular type of job, or you at a company and you know, or you're applying for a company and you know, you get wind of something, you see something, seek out some you know, try and get the information to, you know, hold these companies accountable, because you know, because they are removing it, I feel that it's going to be much more clear than it was prior to these programs being implemented. Because the removal of the program, I believe, like, gives them the feeling that the program was wrong, and so moving forward they can do the old activities that they used to do and it be justified, you know. And so it's I can see it being much more noticeable in terms of systemic racism throughout corporations, and you know, just overall just the treatment of employee or people of color in general. So this will be interesting. Hopefully, you know, I mean, nothing's going to change, especially with this new administration and this and the way where the country is at today, you know. So it's just going to be on us to, you know, fight for ourselves. You know, I've never really been a big person that depends on policies, especially in a country where policies are not. I mean, in a country that we gotta always remember, this country was not designed for certain individuals. It just wasn't. So for us to expect government policies and corporate policies that were built from certain groups of people that were successful at some of the worst times in America's history, we can't really expect that to change, you know. We really can't. We can push for it, we can hope for it, we can pray for it, but at the end of the day, we got two options. We either create change for ourselves and our community, right, by educating ourselves, just educating ourselves in finance, educating ourselves in various career activities, educating ourselves in the legal realm of things, right? Making sure you stand out of trouble, making sure if you are into a situation, you know how to defend yourself without consequence. Educating ourselves in health and wealth. You know, all these different areas of educating ourselves to make ourselves more powerful, and make it harder to get us tricked out of any situation that could benefit us, right? That's really the bigger problem than anything, is that we are not, as a group, we are not educated enough in all of those areas that I just described, to actually fight back for ourselves, as a group. So it's it's easy for them to treat us a certain way, and us sit up here and think that this policy is going to help, or this program is going to help, or this individual is going to help. No, we have to do it. We have to fight for ourselves. We have to do it ourselves. So good video. Definitely wanted to share this. Anytime a good DEI, and I like this. I share them a lot. I just realized that what is this Factor? I think it was Factor Uncensored is the name of it. Yeah, Isaiah Factor Uncensored. I like their topics that they have. So prepare to see even more. I think I got another one queued up from this same channel. Yeah, y'all let me know what y'all think though. All right, it's Ricky Rich with Black Primacy. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and turn on your notifications.